According to Ukrainian intelligence, there was a meeting in Putin's lair with the oligarchs and Putin thought that the whole war would take a maximum of 4 days. The Russian army didn't have a tactical plan because they expected to win very fast. The war costs about 20 billion a day. There are missiles for 3 or 4 days at most, that's why they are using them sparingly. They lack weapons and the plants that supply them, the Tula and Rottenburg plants, can't fulfill the orders for more. Rifles and ammo is the only thing they can do. The next Russian missiles can't be produced now, it will take at least 3 or 4 months best case scenario. They have no raw materials and what was previously supplied by Slovenia, Finland and Germany is now cut off. If Ukraine manages to hold the Russian army off for 10 days, then the Russians will have to enter negotiations because they have no money, weapons, or resources. Russian special forces have been near Kiev since the 18th of February. The goal was to take Kiev and install a puppet regime quickly. They are preparing provocations against innocent civilians, women and children, to sow panic. This is their trump card. Russia's whole plan relies on panic, that the civilians and armed forces surrender and Zelensky flees. They expect Kharkiv to surrender first so the other cities would follow suit to avoid bloodshed. The Russians are in shock of the fierce resistance they have encountered. The Ukrainians must avoid panic. The missile strikes are for intimidation. The Russians fire them at random to accidentally hit residential buildings to make the attack look larger than it really is. Ukraine must stay strong and we must provide assistance. First let's laugh a little. On the highway out of Kiev, the Ukrainians have ripped down the road signs so the Russians get lost and put another one saying, "Good luck." I love Ukrainians so much. And now military news, Ukraine railway workers blew up all connections with the Russian railways. This is important to block future military supplies. Should have been done 3 days ago but better late than never. The US is eyeing sanctions on Russia's central bank in a move that would target much of the $643 billion in reserves Putin has amassed. The European Central Bank and the American Federal Reserve own about 50% of Russia's rainy day fund. If they were to cancel all Russian holdings, Putin would be in big trouble as the Russian currency would collapse with no way of saving it. China holds about 15% and the International Monetary Fund about 10% of Russia's international fund. A NATO battle group being formed in Slovakia will include 1,200 foreign troops and a Patriot missile defense system. Various Russian government websites are being taken down by massive cyber attacks from anonymous hacking groups and probably Western governments. Ain't that a shame? Ukrainian embassy in Israel recruiting Israelis to fight Russian invasion. Hell yeah. Israelis also have a lot of military training and gear. Turkey is doing the bare minimum and will follow the Montreux Convention as it is. Only ships that belong to a Black Sea port can pass the Turkish Strait. So it will restrict some Russian Navy ships but not all. Russia has fired over 250 short-range ballistic missiles into Ukraine since the start of the invasion. According to experts, this is a very large portion of the Russian short-range missile stock. Seen on the road to Kiev from the Belarusian border, about 370 trucks about 30 miles from the Ukrainian capital. There's rumors that the general of the Russian army has been fired by Putin today for failure to take the capital. The new guy has probably been told to take Kiev within 24 hours or else. There's also reports from the ground indicating that there's loads of artillery deploying to bomb Kiev. This will be very nasty night for Kiev because it looks like the Russian army will take the gloves off. Another news from the sanction front, Visa and MasterCards issued under Russian banks will stop working outside of Russia. Good. Germany is finally dropping their long-standing block against lethal weapons transfers to allow 400 RPG to be sent to Ukraine from the Netherlands to help against Russian invasion. Hopefully they stop being Putin's bitches and send military hardware directly to Ukraine. Tons of military and fuel trucks, not even used, abandoned by the Russian military. Looks like a bunch of Russian soldiers found their consciences. Good. Meanwhile, the mass-murdering scumbags running the Russian Defense Ministry are calling the Ukrainian military terrorists just like in Syria. This doesn't bode well for what the Russian military is planning since they level cities in Syria with zero dams to give. A senior defense official from the United States said today that anti-tank Javelin missiles will definitely be in the next tranche of security assistance to Ukraine. Hell yeah. A senior US official said today that more than 50% of the forces around Ukraine has been sent in so far. If we do the math with the forces put there before the invasion, that means that about 40% of the entire Russian army is in Ukraine right now. Russian forces are rumored to have launched a massive tank assault in southern Ukraine in an attempt to surround Mariupol. Very scary stuff. France and Italy now support ejecting Russia from the SWIFT banking network. Of course, as always, it's the damn German Chancellor enabling Putin and his mass-murdering bullshit blocking everything. The global computer chip industry, including the giant Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company, has begun halting sales to Russia in the wake of US sanctions aimed at punishing Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Excellent. Many Russians, including celebrities, are posting Zelensky's daily speeches. The president began doing a part of them in Russian, directly addressing the Russian people. Looks like they are listening. This is great. Ukrainian forces repulsed a Russian air assault this morning. 60 Russian soldiers from 3 helicopters attacked near Brody, 1.5 hours outside Lviv, in western Ukraine. Casualties unknown. Russian paratroopers have retreated into the forest. Another good news is that China is attempting to distance itself from Russia after the invasion. Even Kazakhstan told Putin to fuck off when he asked them to join the invasion. Even Viktor Orban of Hungary, that licked Putin boots a week ago, is supporting cutting Russia from SWIFT. The US has announced that the Secretary of Treasury will also be imposing full blocking sanctions on the Russian Direct Investment Fund, a state-owned financial entity that functions as a sovereign wealth fund, which is supposed to attract capital into the Russian economy in high-growth sectors. According to reports, the Russian Air Force had a very bad day. The Ukrainian Air Force shot down 2 jet fighters and a Russian ships in the Black Sea shoot down a Russian plane by mistake. Oopsie daisy. The anonymous hacker groups announced that they have ongoing operations to keep Russian government websites offline and to push information to the Russian people so they can know what the hell is happening. They're also helping to keep the Ukrainian people online. Power to the people. Ukrainians are complete badasses. Trying to stop Russian tanks, unarmed, by standing in front of them. Then you have our politicians not even trying to stop the war with sanctions.
Ой-ой-ой, мужчина, что? Просять зупинитися. Кидаються просто під колеса.
The Netherlands will supply 200 Stinger anti-air missiles to Ukraine. More Russian planes and helicopters are gonna taste freedom. Secretary of State Blinken authorized the Department of Defense to send more lethal military aid for Ukraine, another $350 million in immediate assistance to address armored and airborne threats. More javelins and stingers to shoot at Russian invaders. Mass-murdering dictator of Chechnya and Putin ally Ramzan Kadyrov confirms the deployment of Chechen forces to Ukraine. These guys are like ISIS fighters. Total psychos who rape and murder civilians. They've done it for years in Syria. This is bad news. Apparently the war is going so bad that Russian TV today is showing nothing about the war. There's also confirmation that Russia has blocked Twitter and severely restricted Facebook. They don't want the Russian people to know that Putin is losing big and committing war crimes in Ukraine. Badass Ukrainian grandfather blasting Russian soldiers in the city of Melitopol like they are children. He basically says, "What the hell are you doing here? I am Russian too, but I live in this country. You have your country, we have ours. Don't you have problems in your country to solve? Are you all rich there as in the Emirates? You're just puppets." Ukrainian badass of the day. Interfax reports heavy civilian casualties after Russian forces opened fire on a residential area in Oktyabr. Another war crime from the Russian army. Disgusting. Russian propaganda has gone crazy again and speculates Ukraine might be preparing to drop a dirty bomb on the Russian territory. What a load of crap. Ukraine doesn't have nuclear weapons and wouldn't be crazy enough to do that because that would give Putin the excuse to nuke Ukraine. Another war crime by Russian forces. An apartment hit by Russian missile in Kyiv.
This apartment here is not as destroyed as the others. Just gives you a sense of how normal this must have been until the moment of the impact. The ones under are completely ruined. This one here still has some sense of being salvageable. Well, to an extent anyway. Oh, I guess over here though. Wow. Wait.
Meanwhile, the crazy Russian army has hit a Japanese shipping vessel in the Black Sea and wounded one sailor. I'm sure it's totally a mistake and totally not because Japan put sanctions on Russia. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry is apparently launching a hotline for the mothers of Russian soldiers captured or killed in Ukraine. Smart move to reach out to families in Russia and break through some of the Kremlin-enforced silence. The Kremlin is doing what it can to censor the war to its own people. It warned 10 Russian news outlets that they could be blocked because they published articles that called the Ukraine war an attack, an invasion or a declaration of war. Medvedev, the vice chairman of Putin's Security Council, speculated in a social media post on Saturday that Russia might reintroduce the death penalty or seize foreigners' assets in Russia. So Medvedev, seen as a moderate by many Western politicians, is basically saying that Russia is gonna go hardcore communist because Putin is a madman and he's losing badly. Germany will supply 1,000 anti-tank weapons and 500 Stinger surface-to-air missiles to Ukraine. About goddamn time. This morning in Kyiv, a terror Russian army unit shot dead a car carrying a family with 3 children. 4th grader Polina and her parents died on the spot, and 2 other children were in critical condition in hospital. RIP to this poor family murdered by Putin and his gang of psychos. I suspect the night will be very long with a lot of people dying on both sides, especially in the Ukrainian capital. Stay safe.